everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. Today, we're tackling something many of you have asked about: learning English faster.
That's right. And we've got a great source for this deep dive. We're going to be looking at a transcribed podcast episode that's specifically about English learning tips.
Perfect. And one of the first things this source jumps into is something I think a lot of people maybe haven't tried. It suggests narrating your daily life in English, like just talking to yourself.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
It might feel a little weird at first, but it can really help.
Yeah.
It forces you to start thinking in English instead of translating everything in your head first.
Yeah, it's like building that habit of thinking in English.
Exactly. Like imagine you're making breakfast. Instead of thinking I'm making breakfast in your native language, you'd say it in English out loud to yourself.
I'm pouring the coffee.
Yes. And the toast is burning.
Oh, no. Well, hopefully not. But yeah, you get the idea.
Exactly. And that leads to another really important tip from the source: pronunciation.
Right, because even if you know the words, if you can't pronounce them clearly, it's going to be hard for people to understand you.
Yeah, I think everyone's experienced that. You meet someone who seems to know a lot of English, but she just can't quite follow what they're saying.
It's so frustrating for both people.
Right. So what this source recommends is to really focus on listening to how native speakers pronounce words and then just trying to copy them.
Like find a favorite English speaker, maybe from a movie or podcast, and just try to imitate how they sound.
Precisely. And recording yourself can be super helpful here too.
Oh, for sure. I used to hate hearing my own voice, but it really does help you identify those areas where your pronunciation might be a little off.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And once you know where those tricky spots are, you can really work on improving them.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've covered thinking in English and pronunciation. What's next?
Well, vocabulary, of course.
Yeah.
This source suggests learning new words every single day. Like, make it a daily habit.
I like that. Make it a small goal you can actually stick to.
Right, because it can feel overwhelming if you try to learn, like, 100 new words at once.
Totally. But even just 5 new words a day, that adds up over time.
Right. And the source mentions some really useful tools for this, things like flashcards or language learning apps. Those can be really helpful.
For sure. I'm a big fan of flashcards myself. Speaking of things that can be fun, this source talks about the importance of choosing reading material that you actually enjoy.
Yes. And this is so key. If you're reading something boring, you're not going to want to keep going. But if you find a book or article that's interesting, you'll naturally learn new words and grammar without even realizing it.
Right. It shouldn't feel like a chore. It should feel like, oh, I'm actually enjoying this story.
Exactly. What kinds of things do you like to read about?
I'm really into science fiction. So I've read a lot of English sci-fi novels, and I've learned so much from them.
That's great. And it brings us to another really important point. The source emphasizes the importance of actually talking to native speakers as much as possible.
Oh, yeah, for sure. There's no substitute for that real-life interaction.
It's where you really start to pick up on those natural expressions and idioms that you might not find in a textbook.
And it helps with pronunciation, too, because you get that immediate feedback from someone who knows the language well.
Exactly. And I think maybe even more importantly, it just builds your confidence. Like, hey, I can actually hold a conversation in English.
That's so true. And I think sometimes people are afraid to speak English until they feel perfect. But actually, making mistakes is part of the process.
Absolutely. The more you speak, the more comfortable you'll become, and the faster you'll improve.
Yeah.
Now, there's another really interesting idea that this source talks about, and it's the idea of thinking in English.
Okay, I've heard about this before, but honestly, I'm not sure I fully understand it. Like, what does it actually mean to think in English?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to explain. It's not like you suddenly have to think every single thought in English.
Yeah.
It's more about trying to shift your internal dialogue, that voice in your head, to English.
So instead of thinking I need to go to the store in my native language, I would consciously try to think I need to go to the store in English.
Exactly. And it can be tough at first. You might find yourself constantly translating back and forth, but the more you practice, the easier it becomes.
Interesting. And the source suggests starting small, like describing things you see around you in English.
Exactly. So you might think, that's a red car, or the sky is blue today.
Okay. I can see how that would help train your brain to think in English more naturally.
Precisely. And it's a great way to build vocabulary, too, because you're constantly looking for the English words to describe your thoughts and experiences.
That makes sense. So we've covered thinking in English, pronunciation, vocabulary, reading, speaking. What else is there?
Well, this source also talks about cultural immersion, and this is something that a lot of people overlook.
Right, because language isn't just about words and grammar. It's also about understanding the culture behind those words.
Exactly. So things like watching English language movies, listening to music, even reading about English-speaking customs and traditions.
It's like you're adding another layer to your understanding of the language.
Yeah, because sometimes you might understand the words someone is saying, but not really get the meaning behind them. And that's where cultural understanding comes in.
That's so true. It's like you might know the definition of a word, but not really understand how it's used in everyday conversation.
Exactly. And that's why cultural immersion is so important. It helps you bridge that gap between knowing the language and actually understanding how to use it in a real-world context.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've talked about a lot of different tips and strategies so far. And one thing that keeps coming up is consistency.
Yeah, that's probably the most important thing. It's like anything else you want to get good at, you have to practice regularly.
Right. You can't just cram for a few days and expect to become fluent.
Exactly. So the source suggests making English a part of your daily routine, even if it's just for a few minutes each day.
Like, set a realistic goal for yourself. Maybe it's reading one English article every morning or watching a short English video every day.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to use technology to help you stay on track.
Oh, yeah. There are so many great language learning apps out there. I've used Duolingo myself and found it pretty helpful.
And there's HelloTalk, which connects you with native speakers so you can practice your conversation skills.
I love that. It's like having a language partner in your pocket.
Precisely. So, yeah, technology can be a really valuable tool for learning English. And speaking of tools, this source has one final tip that I think is particularly interesting. It's the idea of challenging yourself.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What does that mean exactly?
Well, it means not getting too comfortable with what you already know. Like once you feel like you've got a good grasp of the basics,
Hmm?
push yourself to explore new topics and ideas in English.
So instead of sticking to the same old topics that you're already familiar with, try reading about something completely new.
Exactly. Or maybe listen to a podcast about a subject you've never explored before.
And maybe even try talking to a native speaker about that new topic.
Yes, that's a great way to really challenge yourself and expand your vocabulary.
I love that. It's like turning learning English into an ongoing adventure.
Exactly. It's about constantly pushing yourself to grow and learn new things.
Yeah.
And that's what makes language learning so exciting.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today. We've talked about everything from thinking in English to cultural immersion to challenging yourself.
And all these tips are geared towards one goal, helping you learn English faster and more effectively.
Exactly. And I think the key takeaway is that there's no magic bullet. It's about finding the strategies that work best for you and then being consistent with your practice.
Absolutely. But with the right approach and a bit of dedication, anyone can achieve fluency in English.
Well said. And I think that's a great note to end on for this part of our deep dive.
Stay tuned for more insights and tips coming up next.
We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to our deep dive into learning English faster. We're still exploring all the amazing tips from this source.
You know, one thing that I really appreciate about this source is that it really stresses the importance of being active in your learning.
Right. Not just passively listening or reading, but really engaging with the language.
Exactly. And they have this really cool technique they call shadowing.
Hmm.
Have you ever heard that?
I have, but to be honest, I'm not totally sure what it is.
Oh, it's super interesting. Basically, you listen to a native English speaker, could be anything, a podcast, a video,
Okay.
and you try to repeat what they're saying as they're saying it.
Oh, interesting. So, like, you're trying to match their pronunciation and everything?
Yes,
Yeah.
their intonation,
Yeah.
their rhythm, even like the pauses they take.
Wow. Okay. I can see how that would be really helpful.
Right. It's like you're training your mouth to make those English sounds more natural.
Yeah, like a workout for your pronunciation.
Exactly. And it's something you can do anywhere. While you're walking the dog, doing the dishes.
That's cool. So you're sort of immersing yourself in the sounds of the language.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Now, another technique they talk about is mental translation exercises.
I'm not familiar with those.
It's pretty simple. You basically take a phrase or sentence in English
Okay.
and you translate it into your native language in your head. And then you translate it back into English.
Oh, interesting. So you're kind of forcing your brain to work between the two languages.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it helps you really understand the structure of the language,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah. And probably helps build vocabulary too.
Absolutely. And the source also talks about something that can be a bit uncomfortable, focusing on your weaknesses.
Oh, yeah. No one really likes to do that.
I know. But it's so important because if you just keep practicing what you're already good at, you're not really going to improve that much.
Right, you gotta figure out those areas where you're struggling and then really focus on those.
Yeah. Like if you know grammar is your weak spot,
Mm.
maybe you spend extra time doing grammar exercises.
Or if listening is tough for you, maybe you listen to more podcasts or watch movies with subtitles.
Precisely. And the source also emphasizes the importance of setting realistic expectations.
That's huge. Because it's so easy to get discouraged if you think you're not progressing fast enough.
Absolutely. Language learning takes time.
Yeah.
There's no quick fix.
Right. And I think sometimes people get caught up in those like learn English in a week kind of promises.
Yeah, that sets you up for failure.
Yeah.
So the source is really good about reminding people to be patient.
And to celebrate small victories along the way.
Exactly. Like even if you just learned one new word today, that's
You're
progress.
moving in the right direction.
Exactly. And that can help keep you motivated when things get tough. Which, let's face it, they sometimes do.
For sure. And I think one of the toughest things for a lot of English learners is that fear of making mistakes.
Oh, I know. Everyone feels that.
Like you're so worried about sounding silly or saying the wrong thing.
But the source really stresses the importance of embracing those mistakes.
Like seeing them as opportunities to learn.
Exactly. Because you learn so much more from your mistakes than you do from just getting things right all the time.
Right. It's like if you never fall off your bike, you never really learn how to ride it properly.
Exactly. So the key is to just keep practicing, keep speaking, even if you make mistakes.
Because the more you practice, the more comfortable you'll become and the fewer mistakes you'll make over time.
Exactly. And the source also talks about the importance of your environment, like creating an environment that supports your English learning.
Oh, interesting. Like what kind of things?
Well, like surrounding yourself with English as much as possible.
Okay, how do you do that?
You could try listening to English music while you're working, or watching English movies and TV shows.
Even like changing the language settings on your phone to English.
Yes, anything that exposes you to the language more regularly.
And I guess the more you see and hear English, the more natural it becomes.
Exactly. And it kind of starts to seep into your subconscious.
Yeah, like you're not even actively studying, that you're still absorbing the language.
Yeah. Precisely. And the source makes this really interesting point about thinking of language learning as a lifestyle change.
A lifestyle change.
Yeah. It's not just something you do for a few hours a week. It's about integrating English into your everyday life.
I like that. It's about making it a part of who you are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where the real transformation happens.
So it's not just about reaching a certain level of fluency, it's about making English a natural part of your daily routine.
Precisely. And I think that's a really powerful way to approach language learning.
Okay, well, we've covered a lot of ground again in this part of our deep dive.
We have. And there's still more to come.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We're wrapping up our exploration of these awesome English learning tips.
And this last part of the source really brings it all together.
Yeah.
Like it reminds us that language learning is so personal.
Oh, absolutely. There's no like one right way to learn English.
Exactly. So this source talks about finding your own rhythm
Mm.
and your own learning style.
So like what works for me might not work for you.
Right. Some people are visual learners. Some people learn best by listening.
And some people need to be moving around.
Yeah, like those people who can't sit still while they're studying.
So the source really encourages people to experiment.
Try different approaches and see what sticks. What feels good for you?
Because ultimately it's about finding what helps you learn best.
And what keeps you motivated. Because if you don't enjoy the process, you're not going to stick with it.
Right. And this ties into another point they make about choosing materials that you're actually interested in.
Yes. This is so important. Like, if you hate reading about history, don't force yourself to read an English history book.
Find something you're passionate about. Could be anything. Cooking, sports, music, whatever.
And then find English resources related to those topics.
Because when you're genuinely interested in something, you're going to learn so much faster.
Yeah, it won't even feel like work. It'll just feel like you're exploring something you love.
Now, this source also brings up something that can be kind of tough to deal with. It's the idea of embracing imperfection.
Ah, yeah, this is a big one. And I think it's something that holds a lot of learners back.
Like, they're so scared of making mistakes that they're afraid to speak at all.
Right. But the truth is, everyone makes mistakes, especially when they're learning something new.
Like, it's part of the process. You can't let it paralyze you.
This source really encourages learners to see those mistakes as opportunities to learn.
So, like, don't beat yourself up if you say the wrong word or mess up a grammar rule.
Just try to learn from it and move on. And remember to celebrate those small victories along the way.
Oh, that's so important. Because learning a language can be a long journey.
And it's easy to lose motivation if you don't acknowledge those small steps forward.
So even if you just had a short conversation in English today or learned a couple of new words, give yourself some credit.
Those little wins add up over time.
And now for the big question. We've explored so many amazing tips from this source, but if you had to pick one thing to implement in your own language learning, what would it be?
Hmm, that's a tough one. But I think for me, it would be that idea of making language learning a lifestyle change.
I love that. It's about integrating English into your life in a way that feels natural and sustainable.
Exactly. And not just like checking it off a to-do list.
So it becomes a part of who you are, not just something you're trying to achieve.
I think that's where the real magic happens. When language learning becomes a journey, not a destination.
Beautifully said. And I think that's a perfect note to end on.
To all our listeners out there, keep up the amazing work.
Remember, learning English is a marathon, not a sprint.
So be patient with yourself, have fun with it.
And never give up on your dreams of fluency.
We'll be back next time with another deep dive.
Until then, happy learning.